In today's world, AI is everywhere.
What appointments do I have today?
Today is the Royal Institution Christmas Lectures.
Play me a Wake Me Up morning mix.
It's popping up in places we could never have imagined a few years ago.
Mike, you all set for tonight? I love your background.
Yeah, I'm just getting in the Christmas mood.
Computer, will I need a coat tonight?
Yes, take a coat.
How aware are we of the AI in our everyday lives? Where can we find it? What does it do? That's what we'll be asking in tonight's lectures. Hello, I'm Mike Waldridge and welcome back to the second of this year's Christmas lectures from the Royal Institution, an event supported by CGI. In the last lecture, we saw how today's artificial intelligence was inspired by the human brain. In this lecture, we're going to investigate how AI is shaping our lives today. And we're going to see how games have played an incredibly important role in advancing AI. We're going to come back to the video that we just saw a little bit later on in the lecture, and we're going to discuss exactly where AI features in that video. But first, we're going to start by exploring how AI features in one of our most popular forms of entertainment, video games. Please welcome top GT driver Martin Grady and from Sony AI, Kaushik Subramanian. Welcome, Martin.
Thank you.
Take a seat. Make yourself comfortable. Now, Martin, how long have you been racing?
I've been racing for 25 years and I've been a pro racing driver for 12 of those.
Okay, so what we're going to get you to do today is we're going to get you to play against AI. We're going to get you to play against a racing AI that was developed by Sony AI for the game of Gran Turismo. By the way, who in the audience has got one of these things at home? Anybody? A couple of people have got one of those. So, Martin, you get yourself going. Kaushik, tell us, what did you want to do when you built this AI?
Right. The first challenge, what we asked ourselves is, can we develop an AI that can race to beat the world's best Gran Turismo racers in a competitive race? And can the AI learn the required skills to perform at that level? It turns out we can.
Kaushik, where exactly is Sophie appearing in this, the AI?
So Martin's a race with 19 other AI cars, and they're all controlled by Gran Turismo Sophie here. And the way you can see that is if you look on the left-hand side, you can see all the names of the player cars. And there's a logo which looks like a heart, and all of those logos are the Gran Turismo Sophie cars. And all of those cars, they know what car they're driving, they are aware of each other, and they're, of course, aware of Martin as well.
Okay, but they're not all trying to gang up on Martin, are they? They're all independent?
They're all trying to get to first place independently.
So how did Sophie, the AI, get good enough in this race?
This AI, Gran Turismo Sophie, is trained using an approach called reinforcement learning, an approach where the AI learns by trial and error. So at the start, it really doesn't know much about driving, much less the rules of racing.
Okay, I think we've got the video showing here of the training.
Right, and when you watch this, you're going to see the cars colliding. You're going to see the cars completely losing control, going off the track. And this is just within a few hours of training. This is what it looks like. And after a while, with reinforcement learning, it tries many different things, and then it learns finally the right sequence of actions to be able to race like the way Martin's looking at right now.
Oh, crashing apparently.
Okay, now we're going to come back later on in the lecture and we're going to learn a lot more about reinforcement learning. But Kaushik, why is a video game like this so difficult for reinforcement learning and just for machine learning generally?
Racing has a lot of variability. There are ever-changing situations. When you're driving at the edge of control in those situations, that can be hard. Now, in Gran Turismo, players have access to nearly 500 different cars. And when you take those cars and you put them in a race, those cars can interact in many different ways over multiple laps. And in all of those situations, the AI would need to be skillful and reliable, and that can be challenging.
Okay, and how long did it take to train the AI that we're seeing?
A single experiment takes about 25 PlayStations and trains for nearly 2 weeks before it can race with other human players.
Okay, so Martin, tell us, how are you finding this? How, is it different to what you've used previously?
Yeah, it's completely different. In the past, you would just race a standard car, just going on the same line over and over. Here you can see they're going defensive, they're reacting to what I do. So if I go for a move, they're going to move to defend that.
They're going to try and block you as you try and overtake?
Yeah, they react to my reaction, so then I have to react again. And it just makes it so much more fun to be able to play against that because there's endless possibilities then. As you can see there, they're going to the right side. It's just really good fun now because now I've got nowhere to go essentially.
Okay. Now, Martin, I can't help but notice you appear to be playing this game wearing a pair of socks. Is that a pro tip for playing Gran Turismo?
It is a pro tip. So take your shoes off, play in your socks, you get a more sensitive feel on the pedal and it allows you to just race that a little bit quicker.
Okay, listen to the experts, kids. Okay, thank you, Martin. Thank you, Kaushik, for coming and showing us this game. Thank you. How did the AI get so good? Well, we heard Kaushik mention reinforcement learning. That's what Kaushik and his team used to train GT Sophie. So what is reinforcement learning and how does it work? Now, to explain, I need some help, but my next guest is a little bit nervous. So when she comes on, please, let's just have silent applause. Please keep it quiet. Don't alarm her. So please, let's welcome Caitlin and her dog, Freya. Hello, Caitlin. Hello, Freya.
Hi.
Welcome to the Christmas lectures.
Thank you.
So, Caitlin, how long have you been working with Freya?
So Freya and I have been working together for about 3 years. Her mom kindly let us work together when I was training to be a puppy school tutor, and now we've just started some trick training together. So she very much likes to use her voice, so I apologize for the ears.
Okay. So, what are you going to show us today, Caitlin? How are you going to show us how you train Freya?
Yes, so today Freya is going to show us how to pickpocket someone with a handkerchief. What we're going to do is use positive reinforcement to tell her that when she pulls on the handkerchief, then she gets a reward for that. So I use something called a marker. So when I tell her to get it, I'll tell her yes and reward her for what she's done. That's the correct thing to do. So I'm going to tell her to get it. Yes, good girl. Very nice. So first I want to get her interested in this. Yes.
Okay, I think she's interested.
Nice. So the way I do that is just make it interesting like this. If she pulls on it, yes, and then give her that reward. And then I want to add a cue to it, so a little, Freya, get it. Yes, good girl. And then reward. So it's just following that pattern.
Okay. Now, rewards seem to be really important to Freya. Is this a big part of how she learns?
Absolutely. So what gets rewarded gets repeated. So the more I reward her for the thing I want her to do, the more it's going to happen. But what I want to make sure of is that she's also responding to the cue. So when she pulled it there, I didn't give her the reward because I want her to respond to that.
Because you hadn't given her the cue.
Exactly,
Okay,
yeah.
I get it.
And now the last part of this is the pickpocket part, which I will need your assistance.
Okay.
If that's okay.
Yes.
So I'm going to give you that.
Yeah.
Freya. And if you just pop that in your back pocket for me. Freya, come. Good girl, sit.
Okay.
Nice, stay.
The things I do for the Christmas lectures.
Freya, get it. Yes, good job. Very nice.
Freya, you're a lot smarter than my dog, I have to say. Well done. Okay, thank you so much, Caitlin. Thank you, Freya. Remember, everybody, polite, quiet applause, please. Thank you so much. She doesn't want to leave. So how is Freya learning? She's given a treat every time she does a task well. And in AI, we call that reinforcement learning. In the last lecture, we saw how AI learns from data, from training data. Now, reinforcement learning is similar, but the training data in this case comes in the form of rewards. And reinforcement learning is really good for games like Gran Turismo because most games have a score, and we can use scores as the reward. When the AI scores a point, that's a reward. And what the AI is designed to do is to learn how to maximize its reward, to maximize its score, to get as many rewards as possible, as quickly as possible, just like Freya getting her treats. And we can use neural networks to learn all that. That's called deep reinforcement learning. But sometimes reinforcement learning might not give us the outcomes that we were hoping for. And we're going to have a game to illustrate this idea. Can I have a volunteer, please? In the green there, yep, you come down. Yes, you've been selected. Come on down and stand here. What's your name?
Nevaeh.
Okay, well, welcome to the Christmas lectures. Now, I'm going to give you a task. I'm going to give you some instructions, and I just want you to follow those instructions, okay? Are you nimble on your feet? Are you a good runner?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Then you're going to be perfect for this. Now, what we've done is we've placed 5 bells around the lecture theatre. One there, one there, one there. I'm very nimble on my feet, as you can see. One there, and finally, one there. And what we're going to do is we're going to give you 10 seconds, and I want to hear as many bell rings as possible. Got it?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to count you down from 3, and then we're going to say go. All right, got it? 3, 2, 1, go! Go, go, go! Let's hear those bells. 1, stop! Okay, how many bell rings? Come back to the middle. We heard 5, I think. Is that about right, everybody? Yeah, we heard 5 bell rings. That was really, really good. Okay, thank you so much for that. You can go back to your seats. Now, we're going to carry out the same challenge, but with artificial intelligence. So please welcome the Royal Institution's special bell-ringing robot. Come on, bell-ringing robot. Give me that, honestly. Okay, now, I'm going to give you 10 seconds. I want to hear as many bell rings as possible. So let's count down the robot. 3, 2, 1, go! Stop! Did anybody manage to keep track of how many that was? Okay, robot, thank you very much. There you go. So, our volunteer, you didn't do anything wrong at all because you're a human being. I gave you some instructions and you tried to interpret what I wanted you to do. And what I wanted in my instructions is to hear somebody running around the lecture theatre pressing each of those bells. But actually those weren't exactly the instructions I gave you. What I said is I just wanted to hear as many bell rings as possible. And our robot took the instructions literally. And the quickest way the robot could get a reward was just to stand there and bang that bell. The AI found a way to maximize its rewards without doing what I wanted it to do. The way we set up rewards when we use reinforcement learning is really important because sometimes we can set up rewards so that the AI discovers a way to maximize its rewards without doing what we wanted it to do. And that's what the robot did there. And now what we're going to see is a real example. So let's have a look at this video on the screen. In 2014, the AI company DeepMind trained an AI program to play this game. It's a 1970s video game called Breakout, and it uses reinforcement learning. The more it plays, the better it gets. Now, at the beginning, most of the time, as you'll see, it's just missing. And if it manages to hit the ball, it's just really pure chance. But every time it knocks a brick out, it gets a point. Now, after a bit more training, watch, it never misses. It's reliably hitting that ball back every single time. And you might think, that's actually about as good as it's going to get. It's hitting the ball every single time. But look what happened when they trained it just a little bit longer. Look at the left there. Look what goes on. It discovered completely on its own that the way to maximize its score is to drill a hole down the side of the wall and bounce the ball above. So games are fun for us to play, but they're also a great proving ground for AI. because they can provide big challenges for AI without the possibility of hurting anybody or damaging anything. And earlier, we spoke to the CEO of DeepMind, the company behind that video, Demis Hassabis. You can see at the beginning, the AI, by the way, is trying to focus on his image and not doing a terribly good job of it. I asked him about the importance of games for artificial intelligence.
Games and AI have always had a long history together. Actually, if you go all the way back to Turing and Shannon, who sort of invented the field of AI, they all started off with things like chess programs and trying to figure out how could a machine, for example, play chess well. And we use games at DeepMind as a testing ground for our AI ideas and algorithmic ideas, because you need a clear metric to measure them against. And of course, games usually have scores that you can optimize or a win-loss condition, so you can track very clearly if you're making progress.
So let's take a closer look at game-playing programs. Okay, and one of the easiest games to play is noughts and crosses. Who plays noughts and crosses? Can you all play noughts and crosses? Okay. In the United States, they don't call it noughts and crosses, they call it tic-tac-toe. And because the US is so big in AI, we have to call it tic-tac-toe in AI as well. I need a volunteer. Who's really good at playing tic-tac-toe? Okay, you at the back, the second from the end, come on down. Hello, come here. What's your name?
Emmy.
Emmy? Yes. Okay, thanks for joining us, Emmy. What I'd like you to do is come and stand over, just stand about here. Okay. Now, Emmy, we are going to get you to play tic-tac-toe live against the Royal Institution supercomputer. Just stand back a tiny little bit. And this tic-tac-toe supercomputer is called Broderick. What we're going to do is we're going to get you to play against a completely untrained Broderick. Broderick is going to be the crosses player. You are going to be the noughts player, and you're just going to move your piece. You're going to place your piece just by pressing one of those buttons. So Broderick's moved first. You see where Broderick's moved? And now you can play one of your pieces. Okay, moving to the middle. Smart move. Broderick moves. Okay, you need to respond. Okay, Broderick's going to respond again. You get to go again. And you've won! Well done. Turn to face the audience. Take the applause. You never know when it's going to come in life. Okay, so well done. You beat Broderick. But Broderick hasn't got a clue how to play this game. So what we're now going to do is we're going to train Broderick to play tic-tac-toe. And we're going to train it using the technique that we've been talking about, the same technique that we saw with Caitlin and Freya, reinforcement learning. So this time, what we're going to do is tell Broderick to train itself, and we're going to do that by selecting number of players 0. So do you want to select number of players 0? And this is number of human players 0. Broderick is just going to play against itself. Now stay on, Emmy, because you're going to be playing the trained model in a moment. And what we're seeing now is Broderick starting to play itself. And it's cycling through more and more games. And every time it wins a game, it gets a reward. Every time it loses, it gets a punishment. When it gets a reward, that makes it more likely to play the moves it played again. And we're seeing lots of games coming up on the screen, but we're only seeing a tiny fraction of the total number of games that Broderick is playing. Broderick training complete. It's played 20,000 games of tic-tac-toe while we've been watching it. Well, Broderick's trained, but Broderick, how confident are you feeling? Broderick, it seems, is feeling very confident indeed. Emmy, how confident are you feeling?
I'm quite scared now.
You're quite scared now. There's nothing to be scared of, Emmy. Exactly the same procedure. Emmy, over to you. So we've trained Broderick. Broderick should be better. Let's see if that's the case. Okay. Well spotted. Okay. So it's a draw. How do you feel about that, Emmy?
Not that bad.
It's not bad at all, because Broderick is basically a perfect tic-tac-toe player. And if you have two perfect tic-tac-toe players, like Broderick and Emmy, playing against each other, that's what they're going to get. They're going to get a draw. Now, Broderick can't guarantee to win every time it plays, but it's never going to lose anymore. It's completely different to the untrained model that we saw earlier on. Okay, now, in fact, under the hood, I have to tell you, it is not a supercomputer at all. Dan from the demo team is going to show us the truth about Broderick. And the truth about Broderick is that the computer is in fact this. It's a very basic computer. It's a £30 computer. That's all you need to learn how to play tic-tac-toe. So Emmy, thank you for coming down and playing against Broderick, and thank you, Broderick. Tic-tac-toe is a simple game. And one of the most important reasons it's simple is the following. The average number of moves that you can make at any point in tic-tac-toe is around about 4. You start with 9 possible moves for the crosses player, then the next player has 8 possible moves, and so on. On average, you've got about 4 possible moves available to you. And we call that the branching factor of the game. But even a branching factor of 4 means that there are close to 20,000 different ways that we can fill in a tic-tac-toe grid. Let's compare that to the game of chess. This is a much more interesting and much more difficult game. And one of the reasons that it's much more interesting and difficult is that the branching factor is larger. It's around about 35. And remember, what that means is that from any position on the board, on average, not for every possible move, but on average, you've got about 35 possible moves available. Now let's have a look at another game. This is the game of Go. It originated in ancient China, but it's still hugely popular today in Asia. The aim in the game of Go is you're playing your black stones or white stones, and what you want to try and do is to cover as much of the board as possible with your stones and to surround your opponent's stones on the board. And you just take it in turns to place your stones. So it's a very simple game. It only really has 3 rules. But the branching factor of Go makes it phenomenally hard for human beings to play, and it makes it very, very hard for artificial intelligence, and that's what made it an important target for AI. Go has a branching factor of around about 250. Remember, that branching factor, that's the average number of moves that a player can make at any given time. Let's illustrate those numbers. If you take a look under your seat, you should find a card. Okay, so take a look at the card. You don't need to do anything yet, just take a look at the card. Now, if your card has a tic-tac-toe grid on it, stand up now. Okay, so here we are. We've got 4 people in the audience holding a tic-tac-toe grid. That's the branching factor of tic-tac-toe. If your card has a chessboard on it, which looks like this, then stand up now. That's 35 of our audience members that are standing up now. That's the branching factor of the game of chess. And finally, if you have a Go board underneath your seat, something that looks like this, stand up now. That's pretty much the entire audience. That's the branching factor of the game of Go, and compare that to the branching factor of the game of chess and those 4 people that were stood up there at the beginning. Okay, everybody, you can sit down now. Thank you. Let's think about the number of game states there are in the game of Go. And it's this number, 10 to the power of 170. We can hardly fit that number on the screen. We never encounter numbers that large in our everyday life. They are literally astronomical. And what we've learned today is a really important lesson about AI. Trying to solve a problem by simply looking at all the alternatives is called brute force. And the AI lesson is this. For problems like playing Go, brute force doesn't work. It will never work because the numbers are just too astronomically large. Even if we turned the entire universe into a computer, it wouldn't be able to play just using brute force. So we need some way of reducing the number of alternatives to check. And these are often called heuristics. And we can use machine learning to help us build heuristics. And I asked Demis Hassabis how DeepMind trained AI to play Go.
In case of AlphaGo, AlphaGo learnt for itself how to play Go and the strategies it would use and so on by playing against itself many millions of times. And it used learning systems, so reinforcement learning and tree search techniques, in order to figure out for itself what the right strategies were to be good at Go.
In 2016, AlphaGo played against and beat Lee Sedol, one of the world's greatest players, and a lot of people didn't expect that.
And so, of course, the cool thing about that is that actually AlphaGo, not only did it beat the world champion in 2016, it also came up with completely new ideas about Go, new strategies that no human players had ever thought of, even though Go is several thousands of years old.
알파고는 실은 뭐 확률적 계산을 하고 그냥 이기기 위한 그런 머신에 불과하다고 생각을 했었는데 그 수를 보는 순간 아니구나. 충분히 알파고도 창의적이다. 정말 아름답고 바둑의 그런 아름다움을 잘 표현한 수고 굉장히 창의적인 수였다.
AlphaGo's achievement was a really big step forward in the world of AI. Because of its complexity, we thought that Go was a barrier that AI wouldn't overcome for another decade or maybe even more. And games like Go have been a really great training ground for AI. And the knowledge that we've derived from building AI to play games has led to major breakthroughs in science, as we're going to see later on. And increasingly, AI is embedded in our lives, everywhere that we look. Let's go back to that video that we showed you at the beginning of the lecture. And this time, when you watch it, I want you to try to keep count of how many times you think that AI appears.
What appointments do I have today?
Today is the Royal Institution Christmas lecture.
Play me a wake me up morning mix. Mike, you all set for tonight? I love your background.
Yeah, I'm just getting in the Christmas mood.
Computer, will I need a coat tonight?
Yes, take a coat.
I'd like to introduce you to the person who made that video, science author and broadcaster, Dr. Emily Grossman.
Hiya.
Hello.
Hi.
And welcome, Emily.
Thank you.
Was what we watched just a normal day for you?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it was a pretty typical day, although I don't usually end up at the Christmas lectures.
Okay, now Emily, before you came on, I asked the audience to watch that video and to keep track of how many times they thought that AI appeared in it. Should we ask the audience?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, over to you.
Okay, what do you think? How many times?
14.
14 times. Any other suggestions? Over here, yeah.
10.
10 times.
Emily, how many times did you think that AI appeared in that video?
Well, actually, somewhere between the two, it was actually 12 times that AI was in the video, so very close, both of you. But you've got to remember that those were only the times that I was interacting with AI, like, directly. So, like, when I was walking down the street, there might have been loads of stuff around that was using AI that I was sort of indirectly interacting with, so it could have been actually loads more than 12.
I think there probably was loads more than 12. We just don't realise it.
Exactly.
Okay, were you surprised how many times AI appears in your everyday life?
I was, like, totally surprised. So before I made this video, I had no idea how many times I might be interacting with AI on a daily basis. So I've got, like, a sleep app on my phone, and I know that I use that pretty much every day, but I had no idea that that might have AI in it. And also things like an app for maps and even traffic lights. I just didn't realise all of that could be using AI as well.
Okay, Emily, thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
So from that video, it's clear that AI is embedded in our lives already, everywhere. Something like talking to a voice-activated personal assistant or using an automated translation app. Now, those things can very quickly get mundane. They seem very ordinary. But I have to tell you, it's incredibly frustrating for AI researchers when they deliver something like automated translation and everybody starts taking it for granted. But there are some areas where AI should never be taken for granted, where AI is saving lives. Let's have a look at one area that AI has the potential to have a beneficial impact on a global scale, where literally it will save lives and make lives better. AI in healthcare. Let's start by talking about Parkinson's disease. And to help explain this disease, I'd like you to welcome Dr. Rutger Sietsma and former BBC technology correspondent Rory Kethlen-Jones. Welcome, Rutger. Welcome, Rory. So, Rory, first, can you tell us a little bit about what Parkinson's is and how it manifests itself?
Well, Parkinson's disease is a degenerative brain disease. It's basically what happens when the dopamine cells in your brain begin to die, and that affects an awful lot of things. And the symptoms include a tremor, insomnia, stiffness in movement, tiny writing is another symptom. There are a whole bunch of symptoms, and it's very various. Lots of people have one symptom but not another.
Okay. Now, you have a really amazing story about how you came to be diagnosed. Can you tell us about that?
Well, I first suspected something when I was walking with my wife on holiday and I kept dragging my right foot. But then a month later, I was on the television doing a live broadcast from the island.
You've got the broadcast here, right?
Yeah, from the island of Jersey. And as you can see, I didn't notice this at the time at all, but my hand was shaking quite violently. Somebody saw it, a neuroscience expert, and wrote into the BBC and said, you ought to get that sorted out because that could be a symptom of Parkinson's disease.
Okay, it's really incredible that you actually what drew your attention to it is somebody spotting a broadcast that you were doing. Okay, Rory, you take a seat. Rutger, tell us, how is AI being used to help diagnose Parkinson's disease?
Yes, I would like to introduce to you the neuromotor pen. Ideally, with a brief demonstration, Rory, would you mind giving it a go?
I will give it a go.
All you need to do is draw that EL figure and do it about 5 times. The pen measures movements, but there's a link between the movement in the brain and neuromotor function. So we're effectively looking at what's going on in the brain, and if a part of the brain controls fine movement, might perhaps be affected by, for example, Parkinson's disease. So it basically calculates digital biomarkers that rate the symptom that the patient may be suffering from. Things like tremor, a rhythmical shake, or slowness of movement.
So why is this better or more preferable to a human diagnosing it?
So the human will still be involved. The clinician is still in charge of making the diagnosis, but this device provides you with accurate, objective information, and that's really useful, especially if it's very subtle and it's not very obvious, and it's not easy to spot or interpret. So it makes the process a little bit easier and you can make a faster diagnosis.
Okay, and what does it mean for people like Rory who've actually been diagnosed with the disease? What does it mean for them?
Well, Parkinson's disease develops differently in different individuals, so treatment is ideally individualized for the patient. Currently, it's a big challenge to find out how well the person is doing today compared to, for example, 3 months ago. By taking these accurate readings, you can find out how much of a drug they need in order to feel well.
Now, I think we're ready to take a look at Rory's results, and they should be on this monitor over here. So perhaps you'd like to both join me. And Rutger, if you could just talk us through what we're seeing on here.
Okay, so the first output of the system was a confirmation of Parkinson's disease.
I've got Parkinson's disease.
Correct.
Thank you for that.
Looking at the symptoms, so these are Rory's symptoms. This is interesting because they're all sort of moderate to high, except tremor is relatively low. The reason is that he's using medication, and due to the medication, there's less of a tremor.
Okay, so these would be moreover, the more severe the symptoms, is that right?
That's correct, yeah. The other thing that's interesting here is the micrographia. So as Rory was drawing, you could actually see the size of the writing deteriorate. It became smaller as he continued to write. Okay, let's now have a look at somebody with severe Parkinson's disease who's not on any drug. These numbers are obviously a lot higher, simply because there's no suppression of, for example, the tremor. So what we're seeing here is really complex assessment, making it very simple.
Okay, 9.9 looks pretty dramatic there, doesn't it? Rory, what do you think of this? What do you make of this?
Well, this is really important because the trouble with Parkinson's is actually measuring it, because mostly it's the doctor telling you to walk up and down outside his office, get up out of a chair and do various exercises. This is beginning to develop an objective scientific way of measuring it. And if you can measure it, then that's really important because you know whether the patient's getting worse. You know, for instance, if medication is working. And if you're searching for a wonder drug, you need to be able to measure what people are like before and after much more accurately.
Okay. Thank you, Rutger, for joining us, and thank you, Rory, for sharing your story with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
The pen uses AI to help spot Parkinson's by comparing against large data sets. But AI, very soon, might be able to provide far more precise and sophisticated support for people that are pregnant. To explain how, please welcome Professor of Computer Science, Anna Nambareta. Welcome, Anna. Okay.
Thank you.
So, Anna, you are working to improve the monitoring of babies during pregnancy.
Yes, so I'm developing algorithms to provide better healthcare in pregnancy. And in particular, I'm interested in how we can monitor the growth of the baby's brain when it's inside the womb. Now, the best and most accurate way of doing this is by collecting a 3D scan. And at present, the technology that we use for this is an MRI machine. But an MRI machine, it's very large, it's very expensive.
Very expensive.
And it's unsuitable for many people, and it's unavailable in most settings.
Whereas this?
Well, the advantage of using AI in healthcare is that it can revolutionize the way in which we use existing medical technology. So in pregnancy monitoring, we have been using ultrasound machines for over half a century. And while we can't have a pregnant woman or scan a pregnant woman in a lecture theater, we can scan a phantom, which is this 3D model of a mother's abdomen. So can I have a volunteer, please, to help?
Okay, we need a volunteer for this. Hard to see with all the lights.
I see a keen person here.
Yes, come on. What's your name?
B.
B. Okay, B. Anna's going to show you what to do.
Okay, so what we're going to do is try to find the baby inside the mother's belly. So what you have here is an ultrasound probe. You're going to place this in between your thumb and your forefinger. How does that feel? Comfortable? Okay, so you're going to place it on the mother's belly. And what you'll see is the image of the fetus emerging. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. What we're going to try to do is to find the profile view. And what that is the view where you can see the forehead, the nose, the lips, and the neck. Yeah? So we're going to just move the probe. You can sort of see it there, right? So what you see is this bright kind of oval. That's the skull. And inside it, those are the brain structures. And it's really important to study the brain because it's the most complex organ in our bodies, and it grows most rapidly when we're in the womb. Okay, so I think we can take that off.
Okay, thanks so much, B. Okay. So, Anna, that was an ordinary ultrasound, but you're using AI, right? You're going to show us how you use AI to help you with this.
This is a typical ultrasound image of the baby's brain inside the womb. And what you see, that's the bright oval again, right? So that's the skull. And what you notice is that we're looking at a video, but it doesn't allow us to see or measure the brain in 3D, right? So what AI allows us to do is to turn this fairly grainy video into a 3D reconstruction of the brain. And the way it does that is by taking the video, which is essentially image slices through the brain. And that's what you see here on the right-hand side as this red sheet. And what the AI has done is that it's predicted the position and orientation of the slice of the brain that we see in the video, but in 3D space. And ultimately, it cleverly combines them and reconstruct or produce a single 3D image. And from this 3D image, it allows us to measure the growth of individual brain regions and identify babies that may be in need of further support.
Wow. Anna, that's absolutely incredible work. Thank you so much for coming and telling us about it. Thank you. So AI is already pushing back the boundaries across medical science, but it's also revolutionizing our understanding of biology. To help us explore this, please welcome Professor of Molecular Biophysics from King's College, Rivka Isaacson. So, welcome, Rivka. Now, Professor of Molecular Biophysics, what do you do exactly?
Well, in my lab, we use physics technology to work out the shapes of proteins, which are the molecular machines that do all kinds of important jobs inside our bodies.
So why are proteins so complex?
Well, they're made as a sequence of amino acids, so it's almost like threading beads with all different shapes and properties onto a string, and then that straight line has to fold up into a really complicated three-dimensional structure like this, which is lysozyme, a protein from our tears that kills germs that fall into our eyes.
Okay, so why is knowing the structure like this of a protein so important?
Well, kind of like taking a machine apart to understand the way it works. We can't really do that with proteins because they're so small and they're on the nanoscale and they're in our tiny, tiny cells. But we don't have an easy way to find out their shape. But if you know their shape, then you can work out what they do and how they stick to each other and how they move. It's like clockwork, kind of.
Okay, so if you know their shape, you can understand how they can help you or hurt you. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Okay, now while we've been talking, it has not escaped our audience has noticed that hanging above us is a rather large, threatening and strange contraption. So what is it?
So apparently this is a protein, and it's a lot bigger, 50 million times bigger than the ones in my lab.
So this is a sequence of amino acids, is that right? The linear sequence of amino acids.
Yeah, I'm sure you can all tell that's exactly what it is.
We all knew immediately that this was a sequence of amino acids. Okay, we're going to fold this sequence in a moment. But before I do that, I want you to see if you can guess what shape it's going to be. Who wants to have a guess on the front? What shape do you think it's going to be?
I think it might be a sequence of rectangles.
A sequence of rectangles? Anybody else? You on this side?
I think it's going to be pentagons.
A pentagon. Okay, both really good guesses, but now we're going to find out. Okay, so team, let's fold our protein. Okay. It spells Royal Institution and...
My initials.
Rivka Isaacson. We planned that all along. Okay, so Rivka, what causes these amino acids to fold in the way that they do?
Well, so for example, if you have a positive charge over here and a negative charge over here, then they want to be near each other in the same way that a magnet would attract another magnet. And there are lots of other different properties of the amino acids that want to be in particular places within the three-dimensional structure, and that's what helps it find its most energetically favorable position.
Okay, so finding out the structure of proteins is a really important part of your job. How did you do it before AI?
Well, there are lots of ways to do it, but they're all very expensive and take years and years.
So getting to grips with protein structure, protein folding is a really important problem. Rivka, thank you so much for coming and telling us about such a difficult problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So how can AI help? Let's welcome a scientist from the team responsible for one of the most important scientific advances made possible by AI, DeepMind's Catherine Tonya Suwunakul. Catherine, welcome to the Christmas lectures. So tell us, what is AlphaFold?
So AlphaFold is an AI system that we developed for predicting the structure of proteins. And it takes as input that amino acid sequence, and then
like that big thing that we saw above us.
Exactly like that big sausage of drain pipes. Yeah. And then it tries to output the folded up protein.
Okay, so how did you create it?
So AlphaFold's an example of a neural network, and we trained it using all of the experimentally determined structures that Rivka talked about. So there are thousands of those that have been painstakingly determined by scientists. We run AlphaFold on those training proteins, and we compare its prediction against the true structure. And then we try and make it more accurate on those examples.
So I think you can show us how AlphaFold is actually used by scientists like Rivka.
Absolutely. So AlphaFold can produce a new prediction in a matter of minutes, or you can look up a prediction in the AlphaFold protein structure database. And once you have a prediction, it's useful for figuring out what the protein does, how it interacts, and for planning experiments. So you can see the structure of one of our predicted proteins here, and we actually provide confidence measures to help the scientists understand which parts of this prediction they should rely on.
So this is a real protein we're looking at now.
This is a real protein, yes.
And that is complex.
It really is. It's much more complex than that RI example. And when you look at the blue regions, those are the parts where the model is confident, and the orange regions are parts where the model is less confident. So that helps scientists use this prediction.
So once scientists know this kind of structure, that's then going to allow them to focus on the stuff that they really need to focus on, right?
Yeah, exactly. Structural biology is all about interpreting these things.
Okay. Catherine, thank you so much for joining us and telling us about AlphaFold.
Thank you.
I asked Demis Hassabis to explain the benefits of AlphaFold for researchers.
The rule of thumb is that it normally takes one PhD student their entire PhD, so up to 5 years, to just find the structure of one protein using complicated systems like X-ray crystallography. And so we managed over the last couple of years to fold all 200 million proteins known to science. So out there in nature. And so only a tiny fraction of those were known before experimentally. And if you times the 5 years of a PhD by 200 million, you get 1 billion years of PhD time it potentially saved.
What's the impact been of AlphaFold on people like Rivka?
It's been amazing, the impact, and even over the last 2-3 years, over 1 million researchers around the world have used AlphaFold in its structures. We think that's almost every biologist in the world.
Thank you, Demis. So AI is already answering really important problems in the world of science and medicine. But what about creativity and the arts? For a long time, artists assumed that they were going to be immune from the impact of AI. So are artists under threat from developments in AI? Surely it can't do what a human artist does. To help us understand, please welcome artist Eric Dras. Welcome, Eric. So, Eric, tell us what you do.
Well, I'm a visual artist, and I've been working with and collaborating with AI for about 5 years now.
Okay. And we're going to use AI to create some pictures live in front of this audience, is that right? And you're going to steer the process through your laptop, right? So, what I need, we're going to ask you for some suggestions of pictures to create. So put your hands up if you'd like to suggest something that you want the AI to create. Okay. Tell us, what picture would you like to see?
Apples.
An apple? Just an apple? Okay, Eric, do we think we can do that?
I think we can probably do that, yeah.
Okay. I didn't even manage to get back to you and you'd already come
It's
up
already
with a
there.
picture
We've
of
already
an
got an apple.
Okay, that certainly looks like an apple. Do you think we can make it a bit more interesting?
Well, let's see if we can make it out of Lego, perhaps.
I'm not sure I would have guessed that that was an apple.
Well,
but yeah, it's sort of, that's what you can do with Lego. Let's have a look at somebody else. We haven't been at the back here, so let's just come to the back. Okay. And you?
A dog.
A dog. Do you want it doing anything? Begging?
Chasing after a ball.
A dog chasing after a ball. Great
Sure,
prompt. Eric, off you go. See if you can do the same again. See if you can do it before I manage to get back down. Chasing a ball, and that's photorealistic. Okay.
There's a lot of tails there.
Yeah, the dog does appear to have 2 tails. How many legs has it got, Eric?
Many legs.
So is it just going out on the internet and searching for that picture and it's just pulling that in and showing it to us?
Well, no, each of these images is created dynamically on the fly by the neural network and has never existed before.
So these images never existed before?
Not at all. This is what's known as text to image. So to turn text into an image, you need 2 parts. You need something that can understand text, and you need something that can make pictures. So if we look at the first part, about understanding text, part of the neural network is able to tell you how well the picture it's trying to create matches the words that you've put in. So in this case, this photograph with the prompt, a tabby cat in a basket, gives us like a 93% score. It's pretty confident that that's what it looks like. If we give it the same picture with a different prompt, a London bus, for example, it only says 5%. So what we've got here is like a reinforcement learning we heard about earlier. This is the signal that goes back into the system to tell the machine how well it's doing when it's trying to make a picture.
Now, the second part is making the picture, which is using diffusion training. Now, this is a bit of a head fry, but we're going to try and explain it to you. What you do is you take an image and you add some visual noise to it, adding a few random pixels to it. And we're teaching the network the relationship between these pictures. So I know that if I add a bit more noise, it turns into this, and a bit more, and a bit more, and you keep adding noise.
And the picture's disappearing.
And the picture disappears until you've only got a field of noise. And if you train that on lots and lots of images, for example, lots and lots of cats with lots of different text, the machine is then able to reconstruct images from noise by taking a bit of noise away each time. So if I'm going to try the prompt a tabby cat, and I start with just pure noise, at each step, the network tries to take away the dots that will make it look a bit more like a tabby cat. And you do that over and over and over again until the image emerges. This model has not been trained only on cats. Obviously, it's been trained on millions and millions and millions of images from the internet, along with their associated text. So we've got a bus, or a watercolor painting, or a block of cheese, or playing chess. And once it has all these concepts inside, you can start blending them together. So I can ask for a tabby cat playing chess, for example, because it understands what chess is, it understands what cats are, or a tabby cat on a London bus.
Now, the idea of randomizing and then de-randomizing, just introducing noise until the image disappears, and then somehow being able to kind of unrandomize, this, to be honest, is one of the weirdest and most wonderful developments in AI over the last few years. And there's quite a lot of mathematics going on behind the scenes. So even though the image that the AI creates is new, it's worth thinking about how it knows what to create. And it needs training data. Remember, AI needs training data. The more training data it has, the better it's going to be. And so lots of artists are concerned that their images, their creative output, is being used to train AI, which then is used to create images like the one that we've seen. So what is it like for you as an artist using this tool?
Well, it's fascinating. It's like having an infinite number of studio assistants. I can ask them to make some ideas for me, and they come back and produce thousands of versions, and I can choose the ones that I like and manipulate them further. So it's actually an incredible resource for creativity.
Okay, but you're the artist, you're steering it. I mean, you're not just giving it a prompt and it's doing it, right?
Well, to some degree, you give it a prompt and it does something, but it doesn't always do what you want it to.
Okay.
And it takes a lot of work to get the desired outputs.
Okay. Still images are great, but what about videos? Now, before the lectures, we asked you to suggest some dreams that you'd had. If you can dream it, we think AI can produce a video of it. And we picked out from your suggestions some of the more interesting and original ones. And here are a couple of the ones that we got. There was a cat which was eating a fish, and then more fish came and slapped the cat with banana peels. Okay, hands up if you were responsible for this rather remarkable dream. Okay, this was you. Okay, I don't know what you've been eating. The sky was pink. I was walking and fell off a cliff. I landed on a huge marshmallow, of course you did, with a packet of jelly beans on top. Of course there was a packet of jelly beans on top. I ate the jelly beans and the marshmallow and carried on walking. It happened again and again. What a remarkable life you lead. But we picked one from Arabella. Arabella, where are you? Arabella, you're in the middle, right? I'm going to have to pass the microphone. Okay, Arabella, what was your prompt?
So I was baking, and I was baking mug cake, and the mug cake started talking to me and telling me some jokes, and yeah.
Okay, so Eric, talk us through what you managed to do with that prompt.
First thing I discovered is that AI is not very good at mug cakes. It's blended cakes and mugs quite nicely, but I don't think that's quite what you had in your mind. And even if you take one of these cakes, these mug cakes, and I ask it to tell me a joke, it's very difficult to predict how the video model is going to work. And as you can see, this is not quite a cake telling a joke. Here's another one. I quite like this one. It's got a lovely smiley face, but it decided just to rotate him for some reason. I don't know why. So it's early days with this technology, and it's a bit of trial and error. So I changed your prompt slightly and went for a cupcake telling jokes, because the model knows about cupcakes slightly better. And I decided the Cupcake wanted to start its career in stand-up comedy at a comedy club called the Happy Cake. Now, as you can see, text is one of the things that AI is not very good at the moment.
Can't spell happy.
It can't spell happy. And in the end, I went for this one, the Happy Cake, just because I thought it was great. And the character I chose was this guy, the Cupcake, which we'll see. It took quite a lot of time to get the Cupcake to tell a joke. As you can see, it grew a moustache in this one. I don't really know why. I was able to generate a video for you that contains the Cupcake. Everything you see has been generated by AI. All of the video, all of the images, the voices are AI generated. The music at the end is generated by AI, including the singing. And the terrible, terrible joke that he tells came from ChatGPT.
So let's see the video, Eric.
I love telling jokes. Wow, open mic night at the Happy Cake Comedy Club. This is my chance. Why did the Cupcake become a stand-up comedian? Because it had a talent for delivering punchlines that were as sweet as its frosting. Wow, I'm a hit.
Everybody loves comedy cake.
Let's go back to Arabella and see what Arabella made of that. Was that what you had in mind, Arabella?
I guess so.
Were you surprised at how good it was or how bad it was?
Both, really.
Both. It kind of was a bit of both, but it was kind of amazing, wasn't it?
The singing was interesting.
Okay. Arabella, thank you so much. Arabella, Eric, you're going to have to fight over who gets the Oscar for this one, I think. Okay, and now remember, AI created that, but it created it under your direction. You just didn't give it Arabella's prompts and all of that appeared.
If only, not yet. We're not quite at that point. It took me about a day or so of coercing the images out of it. I had to put them together, add sound effects. There's still quite a lot of human activity involved.
Okay, and if that went to a team of human professionals, how long do you think it might have taken them?
I imagine it would take them a week or two to generate all the assets and build the whole thing. So it's definitely a time saver.
Okay, the technology is getting better and better all the time. Eric, thank you so much for joining us. In this second lecture, we've looked at how AI is being used all around us in our everyday life. It's reshaping our healthcare systems and asking us to confront what creativity means, what art means. Does AI democratize the means of producing art? Is art created with AI tools less emotional or engaging than that created by humans? Is it even art? You have to decide that. But remember, AI is a tool. It's not a mind like you or me. In Lecture 3, we're going to look into the future. We're going to consider the dreams that we have for AI, but also the nightmares. We're going to consider the ways in which this new technology might develop in directions that we don't want it to develop. And we're going to try and understand how we can avoid those directions. Thank you. AI is here now. Discover the different ways it may already be revolutionising your life in my exclusive interview. To watch, head to bbc.co.uk/RI and follow the links to the Open University.